Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching. This is David Hopper with the music site 360degreesound.com. Today, I'm joined by Vanessa Briscoe Hay, singer of Pylon Reenactment Society. Vanessa is originally fronted Pylon, a highly influential rock band from Athens, Georgia. They released a couple of acclaimed albums in the early 80s. Vanessa formed Pylon Reenactment Society in 2014 as the sole original Pylon member. In 2020, New West Records released a CD and a vinyl box set of Pylon's back catalog. And just in February of this year, Pylon Reenactment Society released their album Magnet Factory on the Strolling Bones Records label. Vanessa, thank you for joining 360 Degree Sound.
Well, it's my pleasure. Hi,
Yeah.
David. So
Hi.
nice to meet you in
Yeah.
person again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the 360 editor-in-chief Chris Bishop and I had the pleasure of catching one of Pylon Reenactment Society's sets at South by Southwest just in March in Austin, Texas. So yeah, I understand you first played South by in what was it, 1990 during one of Pylon's reunions. Is that right? Or
That sounds about right. I want
yeah,
to say we played two of the early ones, maybe 89 and
okay,
1990.
yeah,
We were there twice. Back then it wasn't what it is now.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So how was your 2024 South by experience?
It was great. We played 4 shows in 3 days and just met a lot of really cool people, there was something interesting about every show. You know,
Yeah,
um, I, I, we weren't like thrust into some huge venue. They were all intimate venues, so
uh-huh.
that we could actually meet people if they wanted to meet us, and
Yeah.
um, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about South by is like it's a lot of local smaller venues, so you can get usually a great view of the whatever band or artist you're seeing. I kind of prefer that to the giant festivals out in in parks and whatnot. Um, yeah, so I wonder if you could give our viewers and readers a little background on Pylon Reenactment Society. I understand you started about 10 years ago. Um, and did and then if you kind of talk about the new record, so did that kind of come about when you were putting together the Pylon box set?
Well, we initially got together 10 years ago, so I guess it's like a 10-year overnight success story. You've
Yeah.
heard of those, right?
Right. Yes.
Uh, and when we got started, we were just going to play a one-off show. It was for something called Art Rocks Athens, which showed the connection between music and art and the Athens, Georgia scene from 1975 to 1985. And Jason NeSmith, um, the guitarist for PRS, now, before that, I'd worked with he and Stanton and Supercluster, which was a recording project. Basically, we did play some live shows, but the major emphasis was that I'm being, a recording project. And we kind of like, we didn't peter out or whimper out or whatever, even play a last show. So I guess we could always come back and do more, because what that project was, it was for material that was coming into my head that was not Pylon material. But anyway, zooming on forward, 2014, Jason came to me and he said, I'm in charge of putting music together for this show. Would you consider coming to play something, sing something? And said, yes, I will if you help me put a band together. Um, and then, I kind of like took him aback. I said, I want to do some Pylon material. And the thing is when our guitarist, Randy Bewley, died in 2009, we had disbanded. And, there was to be no Pylon without all 4 members. But I felt like Randy shouldn't be forgotten, for one thing. For another thing, I felt like this particular period that they were showing the connection between art and music was the foundation of Pylon, and we needed to be represented. If we didn't do it, someone else needed to. So he helped me put together a band, which was basically his band, Casper and the Cookies, to back me up. And they had a history of like backing people up coming through, like Daniel Johnston, for instance. They did a whole set with him at the 40 Watt and only got an afternoon's practice. So these are some crackerjack musicians. So Jason learned Randy's tuning, how to play with these alternate tuning, this alternate tuning that Randy used. And, we had a great time. I mean, people were just over the moon that they were seeing this stuff perform live again. And I just kind of put it up on the shelf. I thought, oh, that was great. But the next year he came back and he said, they're doing it again. Would you consider performing again as Pylon Reenactment Society like we did last time? But this time we'll have more time. In the interim, the drummer for PRS, Gregory, had injured his shoulder and had to have shoulder surgery. So that's when we brought in another drummer, Joe Rowe from the Glands. And because I wanted to do some material from Chomp, which used some keyboards and whatnot that Randy and I played in the studio, I brought in pianist, keyboardist Damon Denton. Well, that show, people just went bananas. We were opening for Fred Schneider and the Superiors, and Dressy Bessie heard about this show, and they said, would you come and play 4 shows with us? And I was like, people will pay to see this, Wow. Well, you could pay me. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
And so we went and played with them in North Carolina and then Athens and Atlanta. And from that point, we just started getting requests to play, and we were playing festivals and shows here and there. And in the process of that, I don't know, you get creative people together in a room, you can't help but jam. And so we started writing new material, and it gotten all the way up to the point, or right before the pandemic, we were about to go into the studio, and the pandemic hit and we couldn't record. So in 2020, I was working on Pylon Box with Jason NeSmith. We were kind of on the sound team. And I was also maybe on the vision team some because I did a lot of typing, but which I'm not very good at. But with Michael Husky and Henry Owings from Chunklet. And so, Jason and I were working more and more. And in the process of that time, 2 members that we had added, the drummer, Joe Rowe, and Damon, kind of fell away to do their own projects. I guess everything was just taking too much time, was too much in the air, up in the air. So when we came back after the pandemic, Gregory was all healed by this. We brought in our original drummer, Gregory Sanders. And of course, we had to relearn all this material we wrote. We wrote some more. And then we started recording it. And it took, about a year on and off, going in and out to 2 studios, one Chase Park Transduction in Athens, one outside of Athens. Subvon Studio, which is Tom Ashton's studio, who is with the March Violets. And we liked some of the stuff he had done and wanted to bring some of that kind of sonic quality to some of the songs we had. So then, I shot the album And we ended up with a subsidiary of New West Records, who I'd worked with on Box. Strolling Bones Records is George Fontaine Sr.'s personal label. And I've been real happy. I've been real pleased. They let us do everything the way we wanted it, to happen. As far as, graphics and videos. And we didn't have a huge budget, but we made it count,
Hmm.
because we have people in the band with jobs and we can't just go out on the road for 3 months like, I used to do when I was younger or whatever. So here we are. Now we're about to go out on a Northeast trip.
Hmm.
January, we're in California, and then you saw us in Austin in March. And then next week, we're headed up to North Carolina and to the Mid Atlantic states. And we're playing with some great bands, including Golden Apples, who were, just amazing band. I can't wait to play with them. And Dim Wizard and Tomato Flower. And I'm trying to remember everybody. Probably shoot myself in the foot here. It Snakes. Let's see who else. Oh, Pink Eye. Um, just a bunch of really great bands, including we're going to open for Teenage Fan Club in Haw River, down there. It's going to be their first American show, for
Oh,
their tour.
wow.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I love Teenage Fan Club. Great, great band. Yeah, I wonder if you could talk a little about your approach to songwriting. And I was wondering, has it changed from like back in the early '80s when you were writing for Pylon? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of changes in the music industry and music technology and all. But is your approach to songwriting any different than it was then? Or
Well, I like to think I've learned a few things, but I don't want to get like too focused on any one thing. The song usually always suggests to me what it's going to be.
Mm.
And I am always constantly writing. I write lyrics and little stories and whatnot, most of which will never see the day, a light of day, but they're good exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have rehearsal, I try to do what I did with Pylon, and that's like completely empty any preconceptions about what something should be. We write all together as a unit. It's not where somebody would bring in a riff or whatever, go, I've got a song, what do you think of this? I mean, every now and then somebody's got some ideas, a lot of times Kay, the bassist, will start off with the riff, and it'll just start, suggesting things to me. And it's not it's different every time. Sometimes it happens all at once. It's just amazing. And sometimes we have to like start writing out the different parts that we'd like, and arrange them together. And then in the process of all that, we have to rehearse our older material and Pylon material that people have come to expect to hear us play live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, on the song "Fix It" on the new album, you had a Kate Pearson of B-52 sing on it, and I understand that you went to the final B-52 show in Athens, and you had the idea that she'd be perfect for that particular song. I guess what made you think that she'd be good for that song?
It was something that just struck me. I was watching her on stage, and I don't know if you've ever had like a eureka moment,
Hmm.
but we had just finished recording and doing all the pre-mixing for our songs, so they were fresh in my head. And she started singing, and for some reason this one particular song just like went, wow, she would be great on this one. And I think I was right. Don't you?
Mm, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's a great song. It's great. She adds a lot to it. Another song on the new album is 3x3, which that began as a Pylon song, but it didn't make the cut on the early '80s album Gyrate. However, I understand that was one that you had in your set list, so you play it live. Yeah, talk about why you thought that song had potential for being formally recorded and including it on the new album.
Well, I thought for, the last several years, the third time Pylon were together, it continued to be in our set. And I was like, guys, we need to record this. And then, we were in the process of doing some writing when Randy passed away. And I've got some amazing cassettes of just jams, going on. There's nothing finished about it, but it's just like cathedrals of sound, really. Um, but I was like, guys, we need to record this. We never recorded it in the studio. I mean, when Gyrate was done in 1980, we had so much material that we had to get rid of some things, and which is a good spot to be in, really, when you're recording an album. And then when we toured behind Gyrate, it kind of fell by the wayside. Then when we got back together the second time, it reappeared in our set list, and it didn't make any sense for it to be on Chain. And before that, when we were together the first time for Chomp, it just didn't fit the vibe. But I've always loved this song. It's like there's something so joyous about it, and kind of silly too, which I love. And so I talked PRS into learning it. We've been playing it our set for a while, and of course, it made the record. People just love it.
Hmm. Yeah. So the box set that came out included a 200-page book with pieces by members of REM, Slater Kinney, Gang of Four, among many others. What did it mean to you reading those essays and seeing what an influence that Pylon had on these bands?
Well, it really, really meant a lot to me. And I'm not going to get emotional because people don't like to see that kind of thing. But I'm very emotional thinking about that because um, I just, really, I've worked 21 years as a nurse. I like raised two kids. I'm the person who cleans the toilets, my goodness, at the house. I don't have a whole lot of input from the outside world about what my band might have meant to people, or even that people were still listening to it. I knew that it was, our stuff was collected, and that was one reason behind wanting to do some reissues, was to make something affordable, that was available to the masses, and make sure that Randy Bewley was not forgotten because he was such a genius guitarist. Um, so, it meant a lot to see all that. And I didn't see it until the book was being proofed because they were collected by our the vice president at New West Records, Brady Brock. He was the one that was overseeing the whole project for us. He was the executive producer. So I think if I'd read all of that, it might have been really hard to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you got a lot of exciting things going on with the new album, and as you mentioned, the East Coast tour starting next week. Lot of great gigs coming up. So I guess finally, just kind of what are your kind of goals and hopes for PRS in the coming months and years?
Well, I don't know. I'm still somebody that's not really made any long range plans. And I think that because I'm like that, maybe I don't become disappointed or disillusioned or whatever. I'm kind of accept the process of doing the work, and also having fun. But as to what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, well, I just hope I'm still here because I'm 68. uh, but I would like to continue making music and art and writing. So those are pretty lofty yet kind of small goals too. I've never like had any vision of world conquest or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, we're so glad you're still doing it. Again, really enjoyed your set, and so if you said you're coming back to Austin, I'll have to try to make that show. That is that a like a festival? The Austin gig you mentioned? Oh,
You're talking about.
I thought you said I thought when you were mentioning the upcoming shows you had, I thought you said one of them was at Austin in Austin. Did I
Oh
mishear?
no, Asheville.
Oh, Asheville. Okay. Yeah.
I might have,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
could be my accent. I
Okay.
might have said Austin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You could play that back and put
Yeah.
me in
Yeah.
court and go, "Oh my God, I did
Yeah.
say that."
I did see
But
Asheville on the
if I
door.
did say it, I meant Asheville.
Okay.
We're playing Asheville, and then we're playing Washington D.C. and Baltimore, New York City, Philadelphia, um, then Paw River, Ballroom, which is kind of near Burlington, North Carolina. It's near the research triangle. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mhm.
And then we're coming down to Charlotte to play with our great buddies at Snakes. It has Hope Nichols, who was in so many great bands, including Fetch and Bones. And then we'll be back here in Athens. So it's a whirlwind tour,
Yeah.
but we're gonna have a good time.
Sure. Yeah, sure. It's exciting. All right. Well, thanks so much, Vanessa, and yeah, thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, try to catch the PRS on tour, and be sure to check out their new album, Magna Factory, for sale now. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much
All
for
right.
having me. Bye
Of
bye,
course. Bye.
everybody.
Take care.